everybody. Welcome to Winning with Deborah, where people turn to learn. You know, knowledge is power, but knowledge itself won't guarantee success, but it will equip you to make informed decisions. Today's guest is here to teach us how to achieve the American dream of home ownership. Now, purchasing a home is one of the biggest financial decisions we will make in our lifetimes. Now, according to the American Census Bureau, approximately 65% of Americans own their own home. For Hispanics and Blacks, the average is more in the 46% range. But home ownership is still the fastest route to accumulating wealth and providing a stable retirement. And yet, is it for everybody? Our guest today will answer this question and enlighten us on the pros and cons of buying a house or two. So grab your notepad and get ready to be inspired and informed about the strategies and trends we need to be aware of in today's real estate market. But before I sit down with her, take a look at this video on the state of the American dream.
Homeownership matters.
Homeownership matters.
Homeownership matters.
I think in the long term, it's a great investment.
It certainly is an investment in the future.
It gives us financial security.
Hopefully it'll be theirs one day.
I always wanted to buy a house.
When you rent, you don't get as much in return. You invest in a home when you buy a home. So it was extremely appealing to us.
Coming from generations of people who have owned land and homes, if you didn't have anything else, at least you had that. So it's something that you definitely want to keep and you want to be able to pass down.
When you own your own home, it's an investment really in your entire life.
Being a homeowner gives you a sense that you can establish yourself and establish traditions and make your house your own.
Although, I make a decent income, for me to have a program that allowed me to get a home with a little bit down and still enjoy the benefits of homeownership was a huge incentive.
I can build on this home, I can change this home, I can pretty much do anything I want to do because it's mine.
You know, there's so many people around the world that don't have that opportunity to have a roof over their head. And I think owning a home where it's clean and comfortable, it is an American dream. I think it should be a dream for everyone.
Given us a sense of stability,
Yes.
And it's made children feel secure.
As they grow together, their families grow together, their kids grow together, they build memories in a home.
Even with today's economy, it's still an American dream to be a homeowner. You feel like you're not successful unless you own your own home.
You are part of the community. You have a bigger voice than if you are a renter. Renting, we never had a say.
It just gives me such a great feeling to know that I've helped someone with home ownership.
You have an investment in the neighborhood, you have an investment in making sure that property values stay afloat, that the neighborhood has a certain appearance. I think the things that got you to the neighborhood in the first place, that you sort of buy into that pride.
Homeownership matters because it's an investment in the future. An investment that, that we can be proud of and that we can grow in.
Homeownership matters because it gives people the opportunity to grow and really become part of something bigger.
Homeownership matters because it connects you to a community.
Homeownership matters because it's your home. As an American, as a part of your community, as a place to raise your children.
Homeownership matters because it's an investment. It is part of who we are as a society.
Homeownership matters because it makes families stronger, it builds communities, and it really is the foundation of our nation.
I think home ownership matters because it's a true reflection of who you are.
Homeownership matters because it's yours and you can make it your own.
Our guest today is Gabriela Ruiz, a highly respected and successful real estate professional. She has been a multi-million-dollar producer for the past 34 consecutive years. She specializes in single-family home sales and investment properties in Los Angeles, Riverside, San Bernardino, and Orange counties. She has helped hundreds of first-time buyers achieve the American dream of home ownership. She was born in Mexico City and has been a citizen of the United States for over 20 years. Gabriela, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, I'm so excited to have you here, Gabriela. I know you personally, and I know your story, and I know that our listeners will be inspired. Tell me, when you first came to this country, what were your aspirations?
Actually, I was supposed to only be here for 6 months. I graduated as a bilingual secretary in Mexico City, and I was lacking the conversational English. So I came to this country to accomplish being able to speak fluently without having to think in Spanish. Instead of saying dress pink, then I learned to say pink dress.
And now you can buy all the dresses you want. And we want to know how you learned how to do that.
Absolutely.
So Gabriela, again, you've been involved just in real estate for many, many years. Do you really think home ownership is for everybody?
In my book, they are. It is, definitely. Everybody should own a home sometime in their lifetime.
Okay, so what are the primary benefits? I mean, I know it could be the obvious, but really, why should someone own a home? I mean, why be labeled and burdened with that responsibility?
It is a responsibility, but it's also a privilege. It is one of the fastest, easiest, most achievable way of acquiring wealth.
Okay.
So in this country, if you are able to own a home or condominium, make it a priority to do so.
Okay.
The Lord told us to come and possess the land. He didn't tell us to come and rent the land.
Oh, I like that. Okay, so let's say I'm ready to buy a house, and so what are some of the primary things I need to have in place? What are the first steps? If you were speaking to someone today and they've really been contemplating it, a little fearful of it, what are some of the things you should just start to do right away to get prepared to buy a house?
The most important thing to a first-time buyer is, do I qualify? How much do I need? And what is my payment going to be? Those are the 3 most important things. Do I qualify? Credit score is vital. If you know your FICO score, you will be able to be helped easier. But there are people that do not run their credit report for years, so they don't even know what their own FICO score is.
Well, they probably don't know that we can get it free once a year from the 3 major credit reporting agencies. We go to what, freecreditreport.com?
Absolutely.
Yeah, go to freecreditreport.com and you can get that for free. Okay.
Right. So your FICO score has to be at a certain level. As first-time buyers, you can buy a home with as low as 585 FICO score. But your costs and your loans are way more expensive than if you have a 680, where you now qualify as a first-time buyers programs where they actually gift you the down payment.
Really?
Yes, it's not a payback, it's a gift.
How is that? That's just a special government program?
Correct.
Wow.
Correct, and it's in different counties, and it applies in different ways. So you get yourself a lender that does first-time buyers programs to be able to help you, because then you're not so worried about how much money you have to have in order to buy a home. People think that you need hundreds of thousands of dollars when you can purchase a home depending on your income,
okay,
and your credit, and be able to have a payment that will be supported by your means.
But let's talk about that down payment, because that really is the big hindrance to most people. Now, in traditional financing, I think they call it conventional financing, you have to have somewhere between 10 and 20%. Now, why is that? What's this big 20% thing?
Well, 20% will automatically help you not have to pay a PMI, which is a private mortgage insurance. And the mortgage insurance can be hefty every month. On a regular home, you're going to pay between $200 and $400 just for the mortgage insurance, which is helping the investor not to lose out should you go under?
Okay, so they want to make sure you have some skin in the game. So let's give an example. Let's say a house costs $500,000. If you have 20%, which would be $100,000 into the house, you're less likely to walk away than if you got one of those free down payment things, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so
Absolutely.
that's a safety margin for them.
Yes.
Okay, but you're saying somebody's going to take a chance on you in one of the special programs, and even if you don't have the 20%, you should still pursue that. Why do you think, are people just lazy not to go out and find out about these? Where do you go to find out about these kinds of programs?
Nowadays, the internet has everything.
It does.
You Google anything. And believe me, before you even finish your question, you've got the answer. Yes, it's totally your choice. Also, word of mouth is very, very good. Many, I'd say, out of every 10 buyers that I handle, 8 of them have been referred to me.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, so you talked about the cash down payment and the credit score. What about that third C, the cash flow, the ability to pay the mortgage? Talk about what kinds of ratios we're looking at there and what that means, because I really want people to understand how critical it is to just make sure you know before you go what you can afford. So what kind of criteria are we looking at there in terms of what we need to make to cover a loan payment?
Right. The first-time programs have a maximum of 45% of your gross monthly income as a maximum for all debts that you have and the house payment included.
Oh, that's good to clarify, because I often hear these ratios, and some banks will say our qualifying ratios are 28-36, meaning that the higher number is the most they want bills, including the mortgage, to represent of your gross income.
Correct.
So if you make $10,000 a month, I'm just using this as an example. If you make $10,000 a month, then they don't want your house note to be more than $4,500, including as well as any other bills you may have, so like a car. So that's something you can figure out yourself. You can figure that out yourself.
Yeah. And our first-time buyers program is a maximum of 45%.
Okay, 45%.
Historically, anybody that does 28%, as you mentioned, they're sitting pretty, very comfortable. When you are able to do 28%, including all your car payment, your credit card payment, your student loan payments, your every payment plus the house, whoa.
Is that realistic? That's probably not realistic, is it?
Not very.
But 28% for the amount of the house note itself, because I read somewhere that perhaps a mortgage shouldn't be more than about a third of your income.
Correct.
That's pretty. But what do you do when you live in Southern California when it's probably going to be 40% just to live?
Right.
It is just what it is.
Right.
But at least you know that, which means then that probably you should pay down some of your other bills, maybe.
Correct.
So that I know many years ago when we bought a house and they made us pay off a car because our ratio was too high.
Correct.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Okay. Well, Gabriela, let's see. You talk about the fact that we should not only be trying to just buy a home, but we should consider buying other property. And let me just show the audience what you had to say about that at a recent conference.
I tell each and every one of my buyers, if you just send one extra payment a year, make it on your anniversary of marriage, or make it as a gift to you on your birthday, or make it as the anniversary of when you bought the home, if you just make one extra payment a year, you completely erase 7 years of your 30-year mortgage.
Hello, somebody.
You pay off your house in 23 years. You should not only pay off what you have, but invest in something else, because we turn 65 real quick.
Absolutely. Yes, we do.
And you know all those aches and pains that come after 40? And you know how you don't want to get up anymore, and you just hear, I don't want to work anymore, and I want to retire, and this and that. But guess what? Sometimes you just cannot retire because you still have that mortgage, one, or you don't even have extra income outside of Social Security. What are you going to do? The standard of life that we live, it is not Social Security. That's not going to make the cut. So if you, with the help of God and you being a tither, the Lord blesses you like you wouldn't believe.
Hallelujah.
That's a promise. that is a promise. And when you pay off your house, then you go for the next house.
If you just joined us, we are talking to Southern California real estate expert Gabriela Ruiz about achieving the American dream of home ownership. Gabriela, so how many people on average do you see that go into investments? Is that better than buying anything else? Or do people lose a lot of money trying to invest in real estate as an investment versus just a home?
Well, we encourage it a lot because if you look at our economy, the majority of well-to-do, anybody that you know has achieved success has done it through real estate. Homeownership is primary, and then your investments, because no, they're not just like an ATM machine that you're able to just go and cash off of them, no, but definitely will bring you the cash flow because you're having somebody else pay the property on your behalf.
So, okay, so suppose I do this, because we've invested in real estate before, and it was just, you know, it was just such a nightmare with the tenants and all that kind of thing. So tell me, since you've been in this business a long time, what is one of the big things we should watch out for, like things to avoid or whatever when we're buying, whether it's a home or even investment property? Can you kind of share with us some horror stories, or at least one or two, about things you've seen and what we need to be on guard for?
Well, one thing is do not overextend yourself. Because unfortunately, sometimes what people will do, they will use their own home as an ATM, pull some money out, and then they go and buy another property. Well, you're paying on this loan where you pulled on your house, and you're paying on the loan that you needed to acquire the second property. And if the tenant does not pay the rent, you are up a creek.
Okay, so you should have like a little reserve ready?
Absolutely.
How much of a reserve should we have set aside? If you're gonna have rental property and you know that people are prone to not paying, so what should you have in the bank? Let's say a month or two?
Actually, yes, the statistics show that you have got to have at least 6 months reserves.
Wow.
Even the lenders, when they are qualifying you for the next loan of your investment property, they require 6 months of reserves. You have to show those reserves in order for you to qualify for that loan.
Oh, man.
So you have to have reserves for your own home, and you have to have reserves for the investment property.
Okay, so I have a scenario for you. I'm gonna put you on the spot. Suppose you have a house that's worth, let's just make a round number, $800,000, you owe nothing on it. Would you recommend that person borrow money against that and go buy rental property? Is that the best use of the money, just let it sit there and let the home appreciate? Or should that person borrow money against their house and go and maybe take $100,000 out and buy some property? Would you recommend that?
Yes, if you're still employed.
Oh, okay.
Because you are employed, you are bringing in an income, you're not totally dependent on the tenant paying the rent.
Oh, I see.
So let's say you have a vacancy of 2%.
Okay.
You know you're going to have to come up with some money to either repair it, place it back into the rental arena, and those 2 months or 3 months or whatever it took, you have to have the monthly payment for that investment. If you're working, you can afford to do that, no problem. Once you become retired and you try and do that, then that's a different scenario, and I don't recommend it.
Because you need to stay secure so that your place you live is always there and not subject to somebody not paying.
Correct.
Okay, great. I'll tell my client that. You just answered the question for me. Now, Gabriela, real estate seems to go in cycles. I mean, this up and down thing, and right now we're seeing an up. You think we're in for another crash?
Nobody can foretell the future.
Okay.
I wish I had a, crystal ball.
Right.
And I wouldn't be in real estate. I would be doing something else.
now how do you keep your peace of mind though when you see it's going up, and then in 2008, we had the big, the crash. As Christians, as people who believe God, what do you do? What do you say to yourself? And I know we're not supposed to panic, but what do you tell yourself when you see the properties going down like that? What do you do?
Well, you should not panic right off the bat, because the Lord has not given us the spirit of fear, but of a self, control.
Okay.
What happens, and real estate is cyclical. It has always been cyclical. I've been at it for 34 years, and I've seen 3 times when it's gone so high it looks like a skyrocket, just high. And then I've also seen it fall where nothing is selling, values are coming down, everybody's unemployed. The economy is not helping. It's just not a very pretty picture. But if you set yourself correctly and you do not use your home as an ATM, and you always keep your ratios within the guidelines that you and I spoke at the beginning.
28.
The 28 and
25,
maximum 36.
36, okay.
Then you will be okay regardless. God forbid you get unemployed. God forbid you get, laid off.
Okay.
So what do I do with the house payment? Believe me, somehow, somewhere, some way, if you are on the 28%, you're gonna make it.
You're gonna be okay.
But if you're overextended and you are using your home as an ATM, I've seen people that have refinanced their homes 5 times.
Ooh.
So they now have completely cashed it out. Well, when you purchased this home, Deborah, you were qualified for a $300,000 loan.
Right.
What business do you have, because you're now own an $800,000 home, what business do you have having a loan of $600,000? You cannot make those payments. And then on top of it, the economy goes bad. And then on top of it, you get laid off. How are you going to make those payments where you couldn't even qualify for those payments to begin with?
Well, maybe you were trying to be a good steward like the man in the Bible and you took it and invested it.
No, you have to be wise.
Well, maybe you thought it was going to grow or something.
And it did grow because your home was $300,000 when you bought it and you qualified for that loan.
Okay.
Now it's $800,000, but nowhere does it say that you have to go and cash it all out.
Okay, now I got a quick question for you on reverse mortgages, because as we get older and we have all this equity in our house, and maybe who is an ideal candidate for a reverse mortgage? And I'll just tell the audience that a reverse mortgage is just that. They pay you instead of you paying it, but it's quite pricey and with upfront fees. But do you see many people doing that, and do you recommend that, a reverse mortgage for people who are over 62 years old, who have the equity but may be suffering on the cash flow side right now, and they maybe can't even buy their medicine? Is that the kind of person who would be a candidate for a reverse mortgage?
It is totally on a personal basis.
Okay.
And the reverse mortgage is sort of like a new animal on the block. Not a whole lot of people know it. Not a whole lot of lenders do it.
And people are scared of it. Some people think it's a scam, but they do counsel you before you get it.
Correct.
Yeah, so that nobody can scam you.
Right.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, it is your decision. It is your home. And if you're not planning to leave anything for your children, or you may not even have children, you might as well cash it out, because from what I understand, they give you a lump sum if you need it up front.
Right.
And then on a monthly basis until the Lord takes you home.
Right. And you don't have to pay it back. That's the thing is, but if you die, they sell the house. So they're banking on you, they'll be covered.
Oh, yes.
And interestingly, the older you are, the more they'll give you. So if you're like 80, you'll get a bunch more than you would if you were 62.
Well, obviously, because then you figure 20 years of monthly payments to you are going to be a whole lot more money than if somebody is at 80 that may have a life expectancy of 90.
Right.
We have no clue how long you're going to live, but historically, women will live longer than men. So therefore, if she's 62, they're not going to be giving her a whole lump sum in the front and high monthly payments, because God only knows that woman may last until 90.
Right. And I know someone who's done this. I know a couple of people who've done the reverse mortgage, and they did very well by it because they didn't have children, or at least they didn't have responsible children they want to leave money to. But speaking of children, you have done very well with your daughter. You have a daughter who's a medical doctor.
Amen.
Tell us about her. And what did you do? What do you say to her and what do you say to parents who would aspire for their child to have such an achievement?
Well, what I would say to parents, and that gets very emotional to me, is raise up a child in the ways of the Lord. And even when they grow old, they will not depart from it. And I've instilled in my daughter that the steps of a righteous man are ordered of the Lord. God has already equipped us for what we are going to do.
Wow.
And He, in His word, tells me that He saw her embryo in my womb. So your children have been equipped already to either be a cameraman or to be a nurse, or to be a doctor, or to be, entrepreneur. Sometimes we don't understand why there is certain inclination towards certain things. And ever since she was 5 years old, she was already a doctor.
Wow.
She will raise up my eye and say, open up big and say, ha, like the doctor would do her whenever I took her in. And she would just, check on things. By the time she was 9 years old, she was reaching out for books.
So she was programmed for success.
Yes.
Speaking of that, what has been your key? What would you say has been your key to success? Because I know you're a very generous woman, but just tell the audience, because I want to make sure that people understand what it takes to advance in this world financially.
Well, do good to people. Do good to people. If you do right and you're transparent and you help them get their first home, they're going to tell their relatives tell their other relatives. And like I shared, out of every 10 transactions the Lord has blessed me, 8 of them are referrals.
Wow.
Why? Because it's word of mouth. Once they've done business with me, they can see everything on the table and everything is done right. I will try and get them the best loan out there, the best program that they can fit in, and they're able to do that. So once now they become a homeowner, there are people out there that, probably going to watch this program, that they would have never been a homeowner had we not helped them, encouraged them, and found a program for them.
I love it, Gabriela, and I really thank you because you have been, and you are continuing to be a very inspiring woman to see what you've done and the heart that you have for people who don't have very much. So I want to thank you for coming today and just for sharing your knowledge and your wisdom. Now, are you available to go and speak at other places, and how would people contact you so that you can share more of your wisdom on buying and selling real estate?
Absolutely, I'm available. They can contact me on my website, or they can contact me on my cell phone directly. I will answer my phone. I'm not one of those agents that do not answer their phones.
Okay.
I answer my phone all the time. And definitely, I'm ready to help anybody that would like to help themselves.
Thank you so much, Gabriela. I appreciate your being here.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for joining us today in our discussion on how to achieve the American dream. I hope that you've been inspired and that you have hope. Gabriela has covered the qualifying essentials, getting the proper amount of the cash down payment, having the credit report, and be sure to go and get that free credit report at freecreditreport.com. You can get it once a year. And also having the cash flow. Make sure you keep your bills in alignment so that you're ready to qualify for that house. And listen, don't give up hope. If you've not yet been a homeowner and you don't meet those qualifying things, know this, that as Christians, we're not exempt from those things, but God is not bound by them. So keep the faith, keep believing God, and expect Him to work a miracle. Well, I just want to thank you so much for joining me today. And if this program has meant anything to you or added value to your life in any way, I'd like to hear about it. I'd like you to make comments on my website at winningwithdeborah.com. And there you'll be able to get an excerpt from my book, 30 Days to Taming Your Finances, and then you can get more information on qualifying ratios, and you'll just have a great time and be enlightened. God bless you, and until next time, have a winning week.